Hey y'all, this is Her Outlets, and you are listening to Egypt's INTROSPECT Podcast. And today I have two longtime friends with me, two guests that will be joining me on the topic of today, which is growing up with an absent parent. So, guys, introduce yourselves.
Hey everyone, it's Aaliyah.
Hey everybody, my name is Charles.
Okay. So, the first question I would like to ask is, how did you feel growing up with an absent parent?
Whew. I mean, I was fine, but low-key, deep inside, I was sad because I love my mom. She was like a mother and father, but I wanted that father affection. I wanted his love. I wanted him to be the first one to know anything that I did in school. But I just have to come to terms that not everyone wants to be a parent. Not everyone wants to be in their child's life. So I have to move on.
And Charles?
I grew up with my dad. I didn't have my mother actively in my life for long periods of time. And it would be so confusing to me because everybody would always have their mom on their side, even the people that have the absent father and everything. So it always made me feel so outcasted, even among people who also have single parents raising them and everything. And it's had long-term effects on my decision-making in my life, even today.
So, what do y'all think about, Charles, what do you think about the difference between, do you think is any difference in having an absent dad from having an absent mom?
Yeah, it's because the mother is your mother is pregnant with you, right? She carries you for 9 months, and that's the first person you ever connect to, you ever meet, you ever feel, because you're literally inside of her. And then you meet dad after. And it also depends on what's your gender. A boy is more closer to his mother. A daughter is more closer to the father. So it really depends, and there's a huge difference because you always expect the mother to be part of the child's life because that's a life that she created literally inside her own. But to abandon a child, or to be absent in a child's life that you brought to this world is just crazy, and it's rare to hear about and everything. But there's a huge difference.
Okay. And I grew up without my father as well. He was also in and out of my life, and that's like a very hard thing to deal with, especially when you feel like you've been abandoned of some sort, and it's a very painful thing to talk about, but I feel like this is a topic that needs to be talked about amongst others that also go through this, especially within the Black community. And going into us going through this in the Black community, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel any type of way about that?
I feel as though that's why in the Black community we have broken homes, because most of the time, it's majority of the fathers, they don't want to be involved with the child's life. From my own personal experience, I did meet my dad, but he was in and out of my life. So he left when I was a baby, came back when I was 5. Spent time with me for a summer, and then disappeared and came back when I was 7. And then spent time with me and disappeared, came back when I was in high school.
Like somebody leaving in and out of your life.
So it's confusing and traumatizing, really, because I'm like, do he want me? Or does he just want to see how I am every 2 years? Because he loved my brothers. He was always in their life. But what is about them that he loves more than me? And I'm his firstborn. So it's It's
Right.
confusing and sad, really.
And it's like that could also have an effect on like future relationships,
Definitely.
romantic relationships, even platonic relationships.
I think it's happening now to me. Honestly,
Mhm.
like every time I meet a guy, I just sleep with them because I think that's how I'll get them to be with me and love me. And that's not the way. And I am trying to change that. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but
Mm.
I'm trying because I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I want someone that wants me and wants to be with me, and I should not just in and out of my life.
Exactly. I also went through similar experiences with thinking attention from a male. You want that attention that you're not getting from that other parent, and you think this is the way to go, and actually it's hurting you more than you think, and it doesn't help you at all. And Charles, how did your mom not being in your life, like, make you feel? And this is a conversation, y'all. We could
Oh, okay.
we could be
Yeah.
natural.
It's like growing up with my dad, and I did have my stepmom, thankfully. So there was bits and pieces of how to treat a woman, but it mainly came from reading novels and gaining the knowledge from different types of studies and psychological studies and everything, because I knew I had problems when I was younger. I'd have trouble communicating with girls. I used to go around saying, I hate girls, I hate women, I hate this, I hate that. But it's something I had to grow out of, because I knew that wasn't right at a younger age. And so going into adulthood, how to treat a woman and everything, it was a long trial and error type of thing, where you have to consider another person's feelings and everything, and you can't relate your mother to the woman you try to have relations with. It's like not relating the parent to everybody that you come in contact to, and that was hard at first, because seeking that attention, seeking that affection, the nurturing that a mother is supposed to give her son, you look for that, but you have to stop after a certain point. Otherwise, you'll never truly find the one that you'll never truly understand somebody or try to actually love the person for who they are, because you're trying to fit them into something that you need, that you're missing in you. But yeah.
And this is something that I rarely hear about with, everybody growing up, especially in the black community. You always hear about, the quote unquote deadbeat
Dad.
father,
Boy.
not being right, not being there for their kids and stuff, and treating the baby mama drama and all of that.
Let me tell you a story real quick.
Yeah.
There was this time, me and Dad, we went we went food shopping and everything. So Dad goes to pay for the food and everything, and he pulls out the child support card, because my mother's on child support. She pays child support and everything like that every so often. But so the register lady stops him and says, "Oh, you can't have that card. What are you doing with that card? This is for da 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 da." I said right there, I stopped her right there. I said, "My father is in full custody of me and my brother. That child support card is because my mother is paying child support because she's not in our lives. So if you may please." And then Dad sat there and he went off too. He's like, "You don't know my life. Now let me pay for my food so I can feed my children and get on with my life." Like,
Wow, it's crazy how
Always
people
stereotyping.
judge. Yeah.
right.
They always think that it's the deadbeat dads, but they don't look at it from a different perspective of a single father raising their own kids without the mother there.
Right. But that's crazy how people just
Assume.
yeah, and you don't know nothing about the person, but I don't know. And like I was saying before, you're not used to hearing that the mothers are not there for their kids. That's like, I think that sadly there are a lot of cases out there with mothers not being there for their families either. But I just think the thing is that it's not broadcasted enough as the fathers are.
We're so used to having like deadbeat dads, so when you hear a story of a mother not being involved in their child's life, it's like, what? Are you serious?
Right.
And
Right.
it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's just
Exactly.
rare,
And it's that exact reaction that gets me sometimes. I be like, oh, I just had to be one of these rare cases.
I know, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it does. That doesn't make it invalid just because you don't hear about it. Like,
True.
It matters just as much. And for anybody else who feels that way, or any other guy out there who also went through this with their mothers not being there, you matter. The girls too. We all matter. Just because we grew up without a one parent being there, that does not mean that we are them. And
it's time
all
to
that
break
attention, that attention that you want from other people, you gotta learn to love yourself. I mean, it's a hard journey, but you have to bring all that attention that you want from other people and give yourself attention, because if you don't, you'll keep looking for the wrong things. And I'm not saying it's easy, but you gotta work towards it. Do stuff that you love. Do stuff that you used to love during your childhood. And were you about to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna speak, like, saying it does hurt, because the day I turned, it's a story, okay, so the day I turned 18, literally, my dad was like, I'm done with you, you get no more child support, because, when you still continue your education, they could still be on child support, but my mom was like, I'm not even gonna fight him, because this is what he wanted from day one. So a couple months ago, he reached out to me, he was like, we should go to lunch, and we could talk and everything about school. So when the day came, he never called me. I called him. He never picked up. And I'm just like, this is the repeated cycle. I'm trying to have my father involved in my life. Even what he told me when I was 18 and graduated, I forgave him for that. And now it's just like, it's a slap in my face. Why I'm bringing him back in my life and he doesn't want to be involved. So from that day on, I just knew that it's time to just give up and move on and accept that he doesn't want to be in my life. Doesn't care what I'm doing, and that's it.
Wow. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Sorry to hear that.
And going into acceptance is something that I'm still trying to not even master, but still trying to walk towards to this day. Like, it's easy to say, oh, it was in the past, you just gotta accept it and go on about your life. What they did had nothing to do with you. While all of that is true, it's like in your head, this is a parent we talking about, first of all. It's not just somebody, it's not a step parent, it's not just somebody who's, unrelated. This is somebody who literally helped birth us. Literally helped birth us, or literally birthed us themselves. Like, this is so, like, what does that make you think?
Makes you feel unwanted. It makes you feel that you're less of a person than who you actually are. It's like, if the person who brought me into this world doesn't want me like that, then nobody else really would. What's my worth?
Exactly.
Like, it's like, do I matter? Like, why don't you want me? I feel like you don't want me, and that's just a hurting feeling, to sit there and think about your own parent, cutting you off. And in my situation, growing up, my father was incarcerated for years, at least until like my sophomore or junior year of high school. And with that situation, I'm not gonna go too deep, but with that situation, it's just like I had to get comfortable with like coming around to him, and I felt like that situation was trying to be rushed. And I felt, huh?
I was gonna say, because it feels like you're meeting him for the first time. Like you said, he was incarcerated, so he wasn't there throughout your childhood. Now all of a sudden, now he's out. He wants to get to know you and everything, but like he has to slow down because we're just now meeting.
And with that, it's like it reminds me of a child when a child doesn't get what they want, they lash out at you. Most children do that because they children. But when an adult does it, it's just like, what? You gotta be real here, because like it's like they lash out at you, and then when they lash out, they either give you the silent treatment, they don't want to talk to you, go towards you or whatever. And that's exactly the behavior that my dad displayed. You know, I'm gonna show you how a real woman is supposed to be treated, and you come back and show the complete opposite. What do you think that does for me, does to me? Well, how do you think that makes me feel? So it's just like, and then you go and cut me off whenever we have a disagreement. Like, that's high school behavior to me, you know? So I don't know.
And you know what I think the problem is also? After they try to get back into your life, they don't know how to communicate.
No.
I feel as though, like, once you get into a bit of an argument, they just lash out, like you said, and leave, and then come back in, like, 2 to 3 months, like.
Right. That's not how a parent is.
It's like, are you my parent or are you, like, my friend?
Right. That's how high schoolers act.
Right.
That's how friends act. That's how I expect friends to act, our peers to act. But, like, being a parent.
And it gets to the point where, as the child, you say, okay, how long do I go through this before they start displaying some type of change? How much do I give them? How long do I give them to change the behaviors so we can actually have a relationship? Because as a child, you want that. You want to have that relationship, but it gets to a point sometimes where you just have to walk away and accept that it's just not going to happen.
Move on, basically.
You have to move on and value yourself.
Right. I feel like the hardest thing. So I have this poem that I'm gonna read, right? And it's dedicated to people who grew up with absent parents. And it's also on my page, y'all. So if y'all want to go in there and read it yourselves, her_outlets. So the title of this poem is To Little Girls with Absent Daddies. Dear little girl, you're a star from afar, high in the sky. You shine so bright that the haters can never tell a single lie. To you, little girls, to my younger self, you are worthy. Despite your dad not taking right position like a soldier, don't let the feels drown you in despair. You will and will always matter whether or not he is there. You have your mom, your aunties, cousins, uncles, and most importantly, you. Him as an absentee does not mean that you won't make it through and through. Young girl, little lady, chica, you will make it through life. I know. It seems hard to understand now. Difficult to understand the fact that he isn't there. You will soon understand once you're old enough. I know the questions must fill your heads. Why isn't he here? Why are my parents not together anymore? Why is he far away? Why he doesn't want me, his daughter? The questions are perfectly normal and will come across your mind in your lifetimes. To you little girls without daddies, you will indeed come across obstacles one day. No matter the circumstance you come face to face with, always remember to sway your way past every boulder of life. Don't think twice about what you should do right, and you can and you will conquer the masses of life. Reminder, your father's absence does not in no way have to be there to make it right, to make life right. Yes, we all should have the availability of both our mothers and fathers. And the golden rule, it will never ever be our responsibility for the decisions and paths our dads took over us. We are not and will never be our dads. We are our own right individuals, each and every one of us. And that is the end of my poem, everyone. So I wrote this in the midst of feeling like trash, feeling down. And I felt like I had to be the voice for younger girls out there who went through what we went through. And even, men. Younger boys whose mom is not in their life. We have to include them too. So it's like a dedication to those who have an absent parent. And a poem of empowerment. So I think personally that that's a very powerful poem, and any one of y'all listening right now, if you ever need to go back on my page to read that, to uplift yourself, I suggest strongly that you do that. And like I said earlier, do the things that you love to do for yourself. And I know it's hard. I know you probably cry at night. Men too. Men could cry. I know you probably cry at night, or I know you probably, break down. I know it's hard to literally move forward sometimes, but it's like if you don't, then what else will you do? You'll just stay stuck. And I know how that feels. We all know how that feels. And it really hurts. But we all gonna make it together, y'all. So what are y'all opinions on my poem?
I think it spoke volumes to little girls who could relate to your situation,
Mm-hmm.
But, it also speaks to men who also go through the same thing.
Right.
Because even though we don't talk about it a lot of people don't, a lot of men don't like to be vulnerable and admit to these type of emotions, that they're hurt for something that happened so long ago, or that they're hurt at all, because it's against our nature. We got to show that we're not hurt, that we're big and strong and all this type of stuff by society standards. But
which I hate, because men could be emotional too.
Yeah, but if a man who has experienced a similar situation were to look over the poem and actually break it down, decode it, it speaks the same message to him about how he feels about it.
Right.
So that's my opinion. It's a great poem. I love it.
Thank you. How about you, Aaliyah? Just say anything that
I agree.
It don't have to be formal. Just say anything.
Oh, okay. I agree. I feel as though in a society, boys are held to a different standard. I feel as though they have to be strong and they have to, not have any emotions. But like he said, like Charles said, I'm sorry. Stop it.
It's okay. So, yes, like Aaliyah was saying, it's like Aaliyah and Charles was saying, it's an inspiration to us all. So, any other thoughts, y'all, on this matter?
I think to the listeners out there, you just have to accept. It's acceptance at this rate, because if you don't accept it, you're gonna carry that burden for the rest of your life. You're gonna carry into relationships, friendships, anything. So please just try to accept it.
What she said, you have to accept the way things are, and you have to build up yourself. Don't look for others to help you, because the saying that two people that in a couple are both halves to a whole is not correct. You come with a whole, and then your other partner comes with a whole as well. Don't look to other people to complete you in any type of way, shape, or form. Other people won't help you more than you'll help yourself.
Right. Yes. And we're not saying that those who are listening who grew up in, with both incomes in the house, both parents don't go through stuff either or pain with their parents. But, it's just with those who grew up with absent parents or with an absent parent, I feel, in my opinion, that it's harder to go through. Especially if that parent is constantly or was constantly in and out of your life. But those who forgave their parents already, or if y'all mended y'all relationships and they didn't try to play games with you, or just leave out of the blue, I commend y'all for that, who was able to forgive. Forgiveness is a hard thing as well.
I also just have to appreciate my mother.
Oh yes, because I'm so glad we ain't forget this, because
my mom, she got pregnant at 19 with me, and I don't know how she did it for these last 21 years I've been alive. She helped me. She stayed on top of me in school. She helped me put myself through college. If it wasn't for her, I don't know where I'll be right now. And we just have to appreciate the parents who were there in our lives. Yeah. Shout out to the moms and the dads that were single, and they did everything they could to help their children.
Shout out my dad. He did everything. He was dad, he was mom, he was everything.
They was your first, to me, my mom was my first best friend. She's like a friend, and she was my mother at the same time.
Right. And Ma, if you listening, I love you. My mom is my biggest fan, y'all. I don't care what y'all say.
Shout out Miss McCord.
We know. My mother, oh my goodness, Aaliyah, I agree with you. And Charles, with your dad too. If our parents wasn't there, especially if my mom wasn't there, I'm gonna keep it real. This is vulnerable hour, y'all. I would have probably ended up pregnant, or just hoeing around, or drugs. Who knows what could happen? And I really appreciate you, Ma, for always being there for me.
Because as a kid, you don't really see why they push you so much. When I was younger, I'm like, Mom, why do I have to wake up early to go to school? Why do I need to go to school every day at that?
Right.
But now, as an adult, looking back, I'm like, she was trying to push me to greatness. Be something better than what she was.
That's true, yeah. And same with my mom. I used to have the same thoughts. We all have the same thoughts. It's just why, we have those moments oh my gosh, they pushing us too hard. I don't feel like doing this and that. But all in all, it's a plan that they have for us, Yeah. Yes. And that just means they believe in us. And I will always, I tell people that all the time. I always thank my mom for, pushing me and still pushing me and just being there for me. Because if it wasn't for her, I don't know where the heck I would be right now.
Yeah. My dad pushed me to be a man at age 8 to 10, physically, mentally, but he always would give me the nurturing that I always needed, emotionally. When he had the time, he'd sit down, listen to me, and that meant a lot to me.
Wow. And I wanted to go into a subtopic of men real quick, and how y'all be feeling with y'all emotions and stuff. It's okay to be, emotional, sensitive as a male. And I know we grow up with, or if some of y'all listening may have grew up with a parent always in y'all ears saying, you a B word for crying. You're not supposed to be expressing, looking like a B in front of, girls or whatever, or other men. You're not allowed to feel deeply because you're a man. I am against that. Because I don't think that's right. And men are not superhuman, just as black women are not superhuman. Men are human too. Men have emotions. At the end of the day, we're all human.
It's we try to hide the emotions and everything to prove that we're strong and everything, but really that's what makes you weak. Hiding from your own emotions, you're hiding from something. You're not facing it head on. You face your emotions head on, you wear them on your sleeve. That is true strength.
Right, and I will be mentioning stuff I said in previous episodes, so I know if y'all was listening closely, back on episode 1, or the trailer, I know y'all remember probably the analogy I made with the bottle. If you stuff everything in it, and you keep stuffing stuff in it, time and time again, what is it going to do eventually? It's going to pop, break. And the same thing, the same analogy matches with us as human beings. You keep bottling everything up, you're going to blow. So.
And it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
Not at all.
I'm sure all of us at this table been there, because I grew up bottling stuff up, and it's not great. So that was my encouraging words for the men out there. Y'all could show y'all feelings too, and bump what everybody else say, or your parents or whatever. Okay. So, any other thoughts, y'all? We about to close this out.
I think I'm pretty much talked out.
Yeah, Aaliyah?
Just accept it.
Accept it, y'all. Accept
You
it.
just have to at this rate.
And improve yourself. Work on
Right.
yourself.
Don't rely on anyone else to help you. You can only help yourself. You can only love yourself. So.
Right. You are your greatest achievement. You can only count on yourself. Don't be counting on these people, because people are clowns out in these streets.
Have a sister.
People are clowns out in these. They will play you.
Yes.
They will play you.
But that's another topic for another day.
Right. That's another topic.
That episode's gonna be titled "They Belong to the Streets."
He loves saying that, y'all. I can't. For all my future fans out there.
We'll be back.
Right. So we are closing out. Thank y'all for listening once again and listening to my past episodes. We will be back with more collabs. Well, I will be back with more collabs. So if y'all want to collab with me again.
Most
anytime.
likely.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for listening. This was also a #vulnerable hour episode. And I will see y'all next time with another topic.